Hello again, and welcome to If I Can, You Can talk show. I am Deborah Philbert, your host today. And, it is such a pleasure that that I know that all my people out there who are supporting us, and I am so excited to be with you again today. I also want to give a big shout out to all our Facebook fans, our Instagram fans, our Roku fans, and everyone who have been watching us all through around the world. Please, I want to say thank you, thank you. Keep bringing the comments and keep, reaching out to us, keep sharing with your friends and family. And I know we have great topics here that for you guys today. Also, I wanted to our viewers all over the world, which is so important. Our viewers in Africa, England, France, Canada, um, Spain, Dominica, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, St. Martin, and all over the beautiful Caribbean. I myself are from the Caribbean, so we always like to shout out the Caribbean. And anyone else who is looking, any other countries who is joining us that we don't know of right now, just saying, just we want to say thank you and welcome. And we're gonna have a phenomenal show today with a great artist, a great manager of great artists. So this is so excited. Also, I would love, love, love to you guys to continue to share right now. Go on to share. You share us. We are right now live on YouTube, live streaming on Imagine Me TV. We are on Amazon Fire, and we are on Facebook Live. So the ones who on Facebook Live, we are there. And we are also streaming on 50 other states right now. So get your friends, get your family. You can get a cold drink or something and just sit down and, come out and then support us today. Um, One thing I want to tell you about why if I can, you can was formed during the COVID. We all got a time with our mental health to step back and stepping back to really give you time to sit down and think about your life, where you've been, where you are now. And for me, it's where I have been. And if I can, you can was formed during COVID. For me, it was being abused as a child, and then where I am today. Even though I didn't, it took me a little while, but seeing that now I'm a business owner. I have like multiple businesses I'm doing. I was able to raise my kids, as a strong mom, a single mom. So during COVID, I was like, why not share my story? If I share my story, how many other people, especially during COVID, can be so? So this is what we are here for. We are a talk show that help people share their story. And by sharing your story, sometimes it really, really helps you to elevate to the next level. So helping sharing your story. So when you share your story about where you are, where you were, and where you are now. And so this is what Hawaii, if I can, you can, was formed. Just remember, guys, continue to share with us. Continue to share because we are on Roku, we are on Amazon right now, and we are on Facebook Live, and we are around the world. So just find the platform that's good for you and just get down. Remember, sit down and get a shirt. Today we have a phenomenal guest, and his name is Darren Watson, and he's coming in from the UK today. So all the people in the UK, we have one of your brothers with us, and the topic is mentoring young upcoming artists. And I heard his story before, but he's going to tell you his story. And I was amazed because I'm always say the children are the future. And if we can get them, even on their low spot, to uplift them, you can help them to grow into successful artists or successful business person or whatever their dreams and goal. Like last week, we talked about living your purpose. And so it will help them with their purpose. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to be back with our phenomenal guest today, Darren Watson, CEO of Third Eye Management. See you guys in a few. Welcome back to If I Can, You Can Talk Show. And our guest today is Darren. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. Oh, welcome, my brother. Welcome.
How are you doing? Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you are welcome. And I didn't tell you, I told you a little bit before in the intro. I met Darren through one of my good friends, which he was on our show before, Shiloh Malone, who is a music artist. And I love his story when he talked about, when you talked about helping young men into
Yeah.
this industry you are in. But I love the story how you took them from, I think it's from the streets, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
but helping them to grow into things. So one of the things on the show, when you come on, the first thing I ask, I will love because you're out there to the audience, and they always
hmm
say the show is about sharing your story, and so
Okay.
where you from to where you are today, right?
Right.
It's
Okay.
that's what it is because we all have a story. It's a story that
Yeah.
it helps us grow in any business or anything we do. People always love to hear our story. So today I would love you have the floor now, the show now. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and your story, and then we'll continue on.
Okay. Well, again, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show, and I just have to say, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing some really good work. From what I can see. But my story, wow, I have a quite a long story. I mean, when it comes to music, I mean, I was born in a town called Bristol in England, which is in the southwest of England. I was brought up with my mother and my grandmother and my uncles. And my uncles, I've got five uncles, and they were all Rastafarians. So from as far back as I can remember, I was listening to reggae music. So that was, your John Holt's, your Dennis Brown's, your Gregory Isaacs, all the big reggae stars. I was brought up on Burning Spear, all those guys. So that was my sort of initiation into the music. And so, I just had a natural grasp for music. And so I think it was about, and my friends had similar backgrounds as well. So when we were at school, we always, when my uncles came home from the clubs and stuff, I would always hear them talking about, the dances that they had, and, the big speaker boxes that they had, that they saw, and the music that was being played. So when I went to school, all me and my friends, we would try and replay what our parents, our uncles have told us, and we tried to emulate our elders, by saying, "Oh, we're going to play this music and whatever." So by the age of 10, me and my friends, we tried to set up a little sound system, because sound systems in the 70s and the 80s was a really big thing in the UK. Everybody had a sound system, which was a way of expressing yourself through music, because in the UK there was hardly any outlets for the music that we listened to. So we had to build our own sound systems, big speaker boxes and PA equipment, which we went around and played music to our community. So we tried to build up a little sound when we were, from the age of 10 to say 14. I kind of started off as an MC, a rapper, if you like. But it was more predominantly reggae music. And so I was about 17, 18. I was quite a bit of a local celebrity in Bristol, because I was quite a good MC stroke rapper, and everybody knew me, and that's how I got my little props within the music industry, and I started to get well known, and people, sort of knew me and stuff. So, that progressed, and then at the age of sort of 21, I kind of got a bit disillusioned with the music industry, because I thought, well, I love it and I got a passion for it, but I wasn't really earning that much money from it. It wasn't really paying the bills. So I thought to myself, well, now I need to find myself a career. So what I did, I funded myself, and I went to a college, and I learned what I was learned building construction studies, because at the time there was a building boom, in the building construction uh, boom in the UK. So I thought, let me get in on this, because this looks like it can be quite, advantageous for myself. So I went to college. I trained to be a building surveyor. So whilst doing that, I was still doing my music and still DJing and still MCing and stuff. And then, so I was carrying on that. And then I started doing events. I went on from actually playing in the events to actually putting on my own events. That got quite huge as well. You know, I started doing some really big events in the UK, in Bristol, and that was that. But then that was about early 2000s. I decided to move to London, and this is just for work purposes as well, because building surveying wasn't really there wasn't really much opportunities in Bristol, because Bristol's like a small town in the UK. Obviously, London is the major hub. So I went to London, and I continued doing my surveying. I got a lot of opportunities to do my surveying there. And obviously, I continued with the music. I started to meet more people within the music. And then I started DJing. Then I noticed that people were coming to me and asking me for advice. And I thought, wow, maybe I should go into artist management, because everybody was coming to me and asking me, oh, Darren, can you tell me this? How would I do this? How would I do that? So I thought, okay, I may as well just be an artist manager, because all these artists are coming to me for advice, so I may as well. Right. So I started doing artist management, and that was like the early 2000s, right the way up till sort of 2011, and I started managing various groups. I managed a rap duo, I managed female vocalists, and then sort of 2016/17, I linked up with a really big. I don't know if you really know about house and garage in the US. There's a music genre which was really big in the UK. So I linked up with a group called the Heartless Crew, and they asked me to be their label manager for the record label. So that was another big opportunity. So, like to be a label manager, using all my experience. Yeah. And they had some young artists there. So throughout all this time, my thing has always been mentoring young artists and giving my advice and my experience to young. I do that naturally in life anyway, but especially within music, I found that I just gravitated to giving people advice and, using my experience and trying to lift people up, So right. That was with Bush Bash Recordings. And then, so whilst I was there, an opportunity came up to do this project. It was called Music Potential. So now this project was run by Capital Extra, which is a huge national radio station in the UK. They're like probably one of the biggest commercial radio stations. So they funded this project. So what they needed an organization that can basically front this project for them, because obviously they're national. They wanted to get to the grassroots young people, which they obviously couldn't get to, which people like us could. So they funded it, and then basically we, fronted this project. And it was, so we had to apply for this project. Mind you, we've never done any project management like that before, and we were up against all these big organizations who'd done it many times before. And we thought, wow, we're never gonna, we're not gonna get this. We're not, there's no way they're gonna give it to us, because we're just a small organization. We didn't think we had a chance, but we persevered. we applied for the project, and we had to do a presentation and fill out loads of different forms. Anyway, we ended up being successful, and we got awarded this contract, and we was like, wow, we've got this contract, but now we've got this contract, but now we've got to run this contract. We've never run a contract before. We've never run a project like on this size, this scale. But anyway, we knuckled down and we got together, and we throughout loads of late nights, sleepless nights, we persevered, and we got the project up and running. So this project was specifically for 18 to 25-year-olds.
Before you go to that, there's something you were talking about, and how you came from your childhood learning the music industry from your uncles. And I love it, because I think we all come from the Caribbean. I came from the Caribbean, and looking at it, I was raised by my mom was there, but I was raised by my grandparents, my aunts, and my uncles. And so I'm looking at it because something we had last week is living your purpose. Your purpose or your dreams come from a child.
Yes.
But I love when you said that, or as a child you started beating the drums, or bringing your own music, and you going out there doing that. And so it's the one thing now you're coming back to young boys or young people who you started with. So it feels like your dream came true. Your success came, even though you had to take a little break and do something else to really bring that But looking at now, it came back full circle.
Yeah,
because it came back now as a child, an adult. You had to step back because that was giving you the money. But now, as an adult, you are back into that same. But now, look at who you're going back to, the kids.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Kids are our future.
Our future.
As a child, or whatever dreams and goal as a child, nobody can take that away from us.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah. So So I mean, it's true. I mean, I never really looked at it like that, but now you've put it like that. Yes, it's actually come full circle, where I'm using my knowledge and my experience now for the youth now. And I was speaking to you off air, and things like this are really fulfilling. I mean, it's not even about the money or the financial gains, as you can you're well aware of, and you're the same as me. I just like to see people prosper and people rising and trying to help people, because like I said, I mean, and you mentioned that I had a break for a while because I had to do something else. But even that, I always feel like God has a plan for everybody, and I think that was part of my plan, because whilst I took that break, I was like doing my building surveying. So now what that taught me was how to be professional, how to bring, put yourself forward as a professional. So I had to go to all these business meetings. I had to work to budgets. I had to work to deadlines. So that gave the professionalism, professional to me.
Preparing you for what you're doing now. Look at it that way. Preparing you for what you're doing right now. Yeah. Remember you said you had to go through that professional, like making invoices and stuff, but what you're doing now. Look at it. So that break.
Exactly.
For what you're doing now. So now you can run your organization. You can know how to invoice. Nobody's gonna, let's say, put it. It's like trick you or rob you from what you do, because you learn that. There's a lot of artists, and not even artists, but people. We use our dreams and what we love so much, and when we go out there, other people rob us of it, because we don't know how, like the structure or the business side of it. I can say
exactly. So that's what I was saying, because it kind of built me up for what I'm doing now. That business management side, that project management, that the the structure, business structure, the contract
Yep.
side of things, and it all. Because obviously when you're doing it, you don't really think about it. You just do. But it's only
Yeah.
when I look back and I think, wow, well, that was really gearing me up for what I'm doing now, because that management side of things, that is transferable skills that I've got
Right.
that I'm using now. And
Yes.
it's a real blessing, because like I said, I'm using it all now. I mean, even in my management of the music, because the passion is in my music, but I also, the business side of things is, like you say, a lot of the young people, they're not quite used to that side of things. So I can bring that professionalism to them,
Yeah.
and like I said, it's part of my journey, part of God's plan. I feel that I've had to go through that. At the time, like I said, I didn't realize what was happening, but it was obviously a structured plan for me to do what I'm doing now.
Right.
You know,
It's true.
it's just such a great thing. So
It's
yeah, so so I know I'll carry on about the project. So the project, yeah, going back to like when I was younger as well. Like I said, that put like growing up around my uncles without me knowing it, that was planting
it's,
seeds into me
it's key.
for
Yes.
music and
Yes.
how to, you know, my passion for music later on, and everything that I've done, it just seems like it's been a structured steps towards what I'm doing now, which is excellent, brilliant. I couldn't ask for a better grounding,
Right.
you know.
And what are you doing for the young men now? Because when you get them that young, some of them who do not have the grounding. I know when we spoke
Exactly.
like a couple of months ago, and
Hmm.
what you said, where you get those kids from. You get those
Yeah,
kids from the lower income bracket, the kids
yeah,
who want streets, and these
exactly.
kids, it's like we were blessed to have our grandparents or our
Hmm.
like extended family around us. Some of these kids don't, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
They're down. So you get
yeah,
these kids from out there, can bring them, and your passion, your purpose, your love for music, because everybody love music. We grew up in the
everybody.
country.
Yeah,
We love
yeah,
music. It's like you love dancing, you love singing, no matter what you sing, and it's there in you. But these kids who are out there who doesn't know their passion or their purpose at that time,
exactly, exactly.
they have it,
Yeah,
but they don't know it. But they don't
yeah,
have that family tree or that uncle or that best neighbor
hmm,
who's somebody who can help them. All they know is outside on the streets, right?
exactly.
Um,
And I was
like
lucky.
you
I
a
was
lot,
lucky because I had five uncles that that kind of geared me towards that, and I know, you know if I didn't have their gut, because that's another thing, because something happened to me when I was about 17.
mhm,
I used to hang around on the street corners. If I didn't have my uncle's guidance, I probably would have been a gang member, or I don't know, selling drugs or whatever. But I remember I was standing on the street corner one when I was about 17, and I was with my friends, and I thought I was a big man, and I thought I was doing this and doing that. And one of my uncles came up to me and he said, "Darren, I don't want to see you on this street corner again. And this isn't for you. There's bigger plans for you, you know?" And I sort of, and that actually made me think.
right?
I was like, wow, if he's telling me that, he must mean good for me. And it really sunk in. It sunk in. And I thought, wow, I need to do something with my life then. If my uncle's coming to me and taking me one side and he said, "Look, you shouldn't be hanging around with these guys, and I don't want to see you out here again." And I was like, wow. So it was that talk that my uncle gave me when I was 17 made me think, and I thought, right, okay, I need to get a career. I need to do something with my life. I can't just be hanging out on a street corner. So that kind
Right.
of turned me as well. So, you know, I always say, people always say you need to have a father. I tend to disagree with that. You need a father figure.
Bigger,
Doesn't
yes,
actually have to be your father.
so
It could be
true.
because I had five father figures. Also, actually, I had six because my granddad and my
Right.
five uncles. You know,
Yep.
my father wasn't in the picture when I was younger, but I had
Yep.
five, I had six strong male role
Yep.
models
Yep.
that kind of kept me on the straight and narrow. And I'm
Yeah.
really thankful for that now, you know?
Yeah. I can
So,
identify with you with that because me growing up, my father was never in the picture, right?
yeah.
Probably when I was
Mm,
21. And it
yeah.
still didn't bother me. But I
Yeah.
was
No, no.
grateful three I had three uncles. I
Hmm.
had one who was the educator. I had
Yes.
one who was the fun uncle.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
one was the other uncle who would push you to that limit where you can do
Hmm.
better with what you're doing. And then I
Hmm.
had one who was the one who would spend anything on us. But I had my grandfather who lived
As
in the
well.
house with us, who was
Yeah.
the one when he said something. I remember I was never a domesticated person. I never loved as a child. I never loved
Yeah.
cooking, doing the house. That's not me. But I
Yeah.
always wanted to do business, business, business. My mind was
Hmm.
always out there.
Oh,
And I
from, yeah,
remember,
from you were young. Yeah.
yes, and I remember when my grandmother said, "Oh, you got to be married and have a husband." I'm like, hell no, you know. But I wanted to be a strong woman. I wanted to be
Mm,
that. And my grandfather stepped in and said, "No, it's woman's
yeah.
live. And
Yeah.
she can do what she wants."
Yeah.
And
That's so
so
funny. Yeah.
that you saying that now, it came back. It's like he stood up for me
Hmm.
as a young child coming up in adulthood,
Yeah.
So he stood up for me, which it made so much sense. I'm so grateful for what we're talking about today about helping young
Young.
kids fulfill the
Yeah.
dream. And this is always a God of something because
Hmm.
last week we talked about living your purpose, so like purpose, and we talked about young people and their purpose.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's funny you were talking about yeah, you had your uncles had kind of different roles in your upbringing because I had an uncle that was one of my uncles was the academic one. Now he went to university, so he was the one that kind of taught me the academic because I was very good academically at school, and that's because of my uncle's nurturing as well. There was one or two of my uncles that were really into music, and I got different sides of the music from them. I got another uncle who was more business minded,
Right.
so he taught me about business and structure like that. And then another uncle who was a bit more he was a bit more of a diplomat. But then
Right.
my granddad, he instilled morals into me,
Yes. Yes.
which I still stand by today. That those old school,
Oh,
old fashioned morals.
yeah.
That's from my granddad, and I'm really grateful for that. You know,
I am.
so
I am. We're
yeah,
grateful for the man in our lives, especially
mhm.
growing up in the Caribbean and I think you're from Caribbean backgrounds because I'm listening
Yeah,
to you.
Jamaica. Yeah, yeah,
And in your life, it come back to the Caribbean men. One of my uncle, he put himself through college, University of West Indies, and he was mad with me because I choose wasn't to go to college. That was my choice, right?
yeah.
But
Of
I
course.
did all his thesis, so I went to college through him.
Yeah.
So he would come and he would be doing everything, and I'll be reading with him, and I'll be doing, and I'll be typing up all this stuff, and then he's like, "Oh,
Wow.
and I'm like, so I did it through him, but that wasn't because I had five other siblings.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest, and I thought that I had to because my grandparents were older now, and for me being
Yeah.
the oldest, I had to. But here's the thing about so I had an uncle who works in the government service, and before I even graduated from school, he made sure I
Mhm.
had a job in the government service because
Wow.
I wasn't to do that. So these strong men in your life make sure that you excel to where something in life, in which I was
Exactly.
grateful for that. So our grandfathers who were the one, and it's not, and again, it doesn't have to be a paternal grandfather, maternal
No,
grandfather.
that's right. It doesn't. No.
Because
No, that's right.
I, even to this day, I don't even know who my father grandfather is. But
Yeah,
this
of
man
course. Yeah.
raised me
He raised you. Yeah.
is
Yeah.
wow, from the day I was born to till
Yeah.
he died.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love it what we're talking about now because it's so much for people to look back where we came from,
Hmm.
where we are today.
And where we are today. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. So
We came from
yeah.
today today.
Yeah.
Upbringing, that purpose, that goal we had in our minds as
Yeah.
kids, and
Yeah.
but the strong people in our lives. And that's why I commend you for being that strong man in the life of these young boys.
Hmm. Yeah. Thank you.
I am
Because
so yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I commend you for that. And
Thank you. Thank you.
continue doing that. And that's for me. My goal is to go out and help others, not less fortunate, who
Hmm.
didn't have who didn't have what I have.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
have their parents in the home and their parents are not there, especially in this time.
Of
You
course.
just
Yeah.
with parents, but it still have kids who goes out just leave home at 17, and that's the crucial age. Because at 17, when we
Exactly.
get adults,
Hmm.
out and we're not in the group, we're not in the group. That's the age that really because that's where you have all the pregnancies. That's what my mom
Yeah.
had.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
it's it's not it's that's the age 17. That's that age where
definitely.
we get into all the trouble in our lives.
Yeah. And I think my uncles caught me at the no, my uncle caught me at the right time when I was 17 because I was just on that verge of maybe going in down that street
Right.
lifestyle, you
Right.
know. And it
Right.
was easy. It could have been. I could have easily just done it because it was just so easy. I was just there. My friends were there. I was just having. We were joking and laughing, and it was just easy. It was an easy life. It was an easy life. So you know, it was. It could have been easy. I could have easily gone down that road. So I was glad that my uncle kind of said to me, "Look, you know, this isn't for you. You need to be doing something constructive." And that's what I did. You know.
Right.
Yeah,
So
but I mean,
what
with the sorry.
so what did like when you talked about I know what you did when your uncle constructed your life, right? But I know
Hmm.
you brought that same concept to these young boys. So where did you
Yes.
get that? Like how did you know, what did you do to really not motivate them, but find these young boys where, and because I know I never went to England, but I heard story, I have family in England who,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, naturally in my life, young people would come to me and ask me for advice, and
Okay.
I would just give young people. You know, I just like to nurture young people and see them aspire to what they should. But with the project that I was doing, the Music Potential, we actually sourced. I mean, we've got a term in the UK called NEET, NEET, which means not in employment, education, or training. So all the people that were on that, all the young people aged 18 to 25 on that course were of that NEET persuasion, if you like, not in
Right.
education, employment, or training. So they all came to us. I think we had about 120 young people, and we we had about four different disciplines. So we had music business, music production, we had songwriting and performance, and radio skills. So we put them all into these different disciplines, and but it was really an eye opener because although I had mentored young people like unofficially before, it was really strange to see because I hadn't mentored people on that scale, but
Right.
I would say 80% of the young people that we had on that course suffered with some sort of mental illness
And
or anxiety,
yes.
you know? And it's really an eye opener because I'm thinking, how did it get to this? Like, I mean, I'll tell you one story. I mean, one guy that we had on there, he came to the course and he was really aggy and he was really unsociable, antisocial, and he was like really had a screw face. And so I was like, I sort of took him to one side and I said, are you okay? How's how are you? No, I let him go through the day, and I took it. I called him to one side at the morning break, and I said, how are you getting on? How are you finding the course? I said, are you okay? Everything okay with you? And he goes, and then he opened up to me. He said, look, he said, I nearly didn't come today because my younger cousin, who was 16, got shot and killed last night. And I was like,
Wow.
wow. So
Wow.
I said, so he said, yeah, well, my brother is on the course as well. He was supposed to be on the course, but he couldn't because of what happened to my cousin. He stayed home to look after my family. Then I came so that
Wow.
I could like maybe get through on the
Okay.
course and then bring him along after kind of thing. And then I
Wow.
realized sometimes when people are acting a certain way, there's always a reason for it. So like if I didn't
Yeah.
take him to one side, I would have thought this guy's just too antisocial. I'd just kick him off the course. But because I sat him down and I spoke to him and he said that to me, and then he kind of and I understood where he was coming from. I was like, well, obviously, your younger cousin, your cousin who's 16-year-old cousin got shot and killed last night. I don't know if I would have been in the frame of mind to even turn up, you know. So I let him go through the day, and then he continued to open up to me, open up, and that guy, I tell you, he ended up being one of the star pupils of that course because we had different stages where at the end of the day, because it was Capital Extra, the big radio station, they had a big concert at the end. So only a few of the more talented young people were able to perform at this like a big showcase at the end. And he went through from that first day that I took him to one side, and he actually ended up performing on that last showcase, and he was a revelation. You could see the growth of the young people throughout the time that they were on there. They within that the short space of time we had them, I think we only had them for like about a month or so, but in that time, the confidence that they got, the all the skills that they've learned. And another thing that we had as well, we obviously we got a sum of money, a budget, and we could have used it more or less how we wanted to. And one of the main things is me as project manager, I thought to myself, well, look, I know a lot of these young people, they probably don't even have a hot meal for that
So
day.
that's so
So
true.
so what I said was, right, we're gonna use some of this money so we could provide them with a hot meal every day. So we brought in this Caribbean caterer. So we had the jerk chickens, the curry goat, we had the rice and peas, we had the dumplings, we had you know jerk chicken, we had proper food for these young people, and I think that was a highlight of our day. Every single day that they were there, they got that hot food, proper, good food. And some of them, I know for a fact, some of them weren't, they come from sort of, you know, uh, families are on low income. They obviously, some of them weren't even probably getting a hot meal for the day. So at least we knew whilst they were there, they were getting a good solid meal, as well as what they were being taught, and the camaraderie that they were getting from all the other pupils as well. It was just such a good experience, mentoring them and seeing them, their confidence rise, and seeing them progress from being shy individuals to interacting with other people and just moving on. I mean, yeah, it was just amazing, just absolutely amazing.
It's really amazing because I do go out with, like when I go out in the kids, that's how my nonprofit was started, helping
Hmm.
minorities in college. You would walk out there, and this young little boy, he was like 10 or 11. But when you go out, the mom had 15 kids, right? But he
Wow.
wanted, had a purpose. He had a
Yeah.
purpose. He
Yeah.
wanted he wanted to be a policeman, and that sticks in my head to this day. This young guy, because in the summer we do summer lunches, so we go into
Okay.
the text and we make sure that the kids, because that's the only meal the kids have for the day,
Right.
right? Parents don't have, maybe they'll have. In school, they get two. They get breakfast and lunch. So at least
Hmm.
they are surviving. Some kids get a backpack to take home for lunch, for dinner. So like on the weekend, they
Okay.
have a
Good.
food to take home. But this day, this young guy, I would notice every time our car pull up, he's the first one running. Do you have any extra? Do
Oh,
you have any, can I help you? Can I
wow.
help you? And he would help. And every time I talk about him, I just feel, you know, and I started befriending him. I started talking to him.
Hmm.
So every week when we go in, I'll make sure I look for him. I'll have an extra bag so he can get that extra bag.
Yeah.
And so I, talking to him, I said, for my first thing I asked a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or what do you want to be in this world?
Mm.
And his face was light up like somebody's asking me, what do I want to be, right? And he
Yeah.
said, I want to be a policeman. And he was, oh my God, you can see he wanted to be this policeman. And
Oh,
so we
wow.
continued. Every week he would talk. And now I started with school because one of my things is school, you know? I started talking with
Mm.
school. And he said, I'm mad. I was like, why are you mad? He said, I'm mad because I wanted to go to this school, which is he goes to in a public school, but they give you
Hmm.
scholarships to some of these other private school. And I
Yeah.
wanted to go to a private school, but my mom did not sign that application, so I can't go. So
Um,
he's still back in the system, but he has to go to school he hated. So for me, I would
wow.
go into these little events, and I decided, okay, I saw this police officer, he retired, and I told him about this little boy, and he said, I'll mentor him. Okay. When I
Okay.
got home, they live in trailer parks. Okay. When I
Hmm.
got to the home, the house was empty.
Wow. Nothing there at all.
No, nothing. The phone number changed. The house was, nobody knew where they went to. Nobody could find this to this day. And that's when my nonprofit was born. How
Wow.
many other
Wow. Okay.
how many other kids out there that
Yeah.
have that dream at 12, at 10, at 7, but they can't
Hmm.
fulfill it? As you say, what you said, the one who said his cousin died, and but he
Yeah.
still persuaded, he still pushed, he still came to the class. He
You
didn't
still
make
can.
that
Yeah.
stop him, right?
No,
This
that's
is
right.
this little boy.
Mm.
But this boy wasn't lucky to have a mentor like a man or somebody in his life
Hmm.
to mentor him,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Because
His sister
yeah.
was 50 and she had a baby with the mom. So it's good when at least you guys, we have a lot of organization here that help them, but having strong men coming in their life, especially young men,
Yeah.
to mentor them into their goal, into
Yeah.
their future. So this to
It,
this day, when I think back and when I think about my nonprofit, if I could see that young man again, it know that was formed because of him.
yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. It's funny you should say. Because when you were just talking and you said to the young man, like, what did he want to do when he grew up? And the same young man I was telling you about, whose cousin got shot and killed, I part of my talk to him was, I said, look, what do you want to, where do you see yourself in 5 years time? Because I really wanted to try and get into his head and find out what he was thinking and what he was going through. And he said to me, he looked at me, and I was so shocked. And even now, thinking about it and talking about it, it makes me kind of shiver. Like, I said to him, in 5 years' time, where do you see yourself? And he said, I want to be like you. And that was just so powerful. I thought, wow, you want to be like me. So I thought, my thought, when he said that to me, I thought, you know what, I could go home now. My job's done. You know, if I could get one young person to say something like that,
Right.
I've done a
Right.
really good job. And the thing is, it wasn't even finished there because like I
This
said, he
one.
went on to be one of the
One.
model pupils. He went on to be one of the
Yes.
model pupils for that course, and one of the he was the one that was always called when there was like
Yeah.
photo
And they go
opportunities. Or,
on. That person will
yeah,
go on and have somebody else.
yeah,
That is
exactly,
it's so
exactly.
amazing.
It's amazing
Amazing.
how the growth that he came in at a really um, confused young man. He didn't know where he was. Obviously, his cousin just got shot and killed. He was just like mixed up. He didn't know what was going on. And then that from that stage to see where he is now an artist. He's making music. He contacts me every now and again.
Wow.
Every time they have a like a single launch or they've got a new single coming out, he'll message me and say, Darren, tell me what you think about this song. You know, I get that from all of them. They always, if they're, because it's obviously it's music based, so a lot of them are artists and they perform and they write music. So they'll ask me for my opinion on a lot of stuff. Oh, Darren, what do you think about this new song? Oh, Darren, I've got this show. I'm going to be performing at this show. Could you come and see me perform? You know, and it is, in a way, they're like my children. I
So,
see them as my children.
yeah.
You know, because
That just
I
went to my mind. It's your children. It's like,
yeah,
do you have
that's how it is. I've got such a connection with them.
yes.
I even now I feel like they're my children. I sometimes I think, oh gosh, am I, you know, I'm doing too much, but I'm not because
No.
I always find time for them, no matter what I'm doing. I never find it in myself to like turn them down and say no, I can't come, or no, I don't want to listen to your song or whatever. I always give them my time because I know how much it
Right.
means to them, you know, to have somebody that they can call and say, oh, can you come and see me perform here, or can you listen to my music, just to give them some advice and constructive advice, you know.
That's
It's
awesome.
yeah,
That's it. And that's what, I always say that's what God have us here for, because He always give us a purpose, He give us a gift, not to use it,
yeah,
not to keep it, but to share it,
that's
right?
the thing.
It's to
That is the
share it.
thing.
I always say, when I leave this earth, I can say, look, I leave a legacy because I have these kids with not go on drugs or doing something, but they're doing something with a purpose. And you said that
Mhm.
young man now, right? He's a young man now. He's going to help somebody else, and then
Exactly.
somebody else going to help another one, because
But the
now
thing is, yeah,
they're coming like,
the thing
oh,
is, yeah, the
it's
thing
so
is,
it's
he was helping other people whilst he was actually on the course. That's
wow,
how much he had grown. He was actually mentoring people while he was on the course. They
yeah,
kind of looked to him as a sort of student spokesman, spokesperson, and then he would come to me and say, "Oh, Darren, you know, we're not, you know, some people aren't happy about this. Can you, you know?" So he was the link between me and the students. So
and
they saw him as a role model then. So he was mentoring people from he was on the course. So which was that was a good growth for him. You know, it was really really good. It was such a eye opening, you know,
it
project
a
to
lot of
work on.
young people now, especially with this, especially now with the COVID season, with that mental health, which
Yes, yeah, that mental health thing is
we
terrible.
need
Like, yeah,
now. Terrible. We
but
didn't need that now. Especially not young
mm,
men, but young women too. Because
yeah, of course.
I ended up going on and even helping a younger woman who ended up
Hmm.
going to college and finishing her college degree. Today she's so
Wow.
successful, right? Today she now in turn is taking care of her siblings.
Hmm.
But you in that toxic staying home, you still don't have your parents around you. But this is the same thing that it comes back around now. She's doing it for others,
Yeah.
and in which I so commend you for that. One thing I like, and I can't go on. And see, you said here. I know we are almost coming to that close,
Hmm.
right? But I know one in your background when you talked about Barris Hammond,
Oh
that
yeah. Hmm.
Oh my gosh, that was somebody I
So
loved.
so Beres Hammond and my father, they actually were in the school together. My father knows him very well. They're from the same area, same town in Jamaica.
Jamaica, yeah.
So I remember, I mean, when I kind of reconnected with my dad later on in my life, and we went to Jamaica, I think it was 2001, and he took me to Beres Hammond's house. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, we went there. Beres Hammond's house, yeah. If you look at it from an aerial view, it's
Mm,
shaped like a piano. Yeah.
wow.
So we were there. We were just there chilling for the day. He's got a studio in his basement. We were there. We saw him doing his recording. He was there talking to us, talking to me about music, and and then yeah. So it was just so awesome to be in the presence of an icon like that. We just chilled at his house all day. We just chilled in the studio. We're just outside on his veranda talking to
That
him,
was one.
and
Yeah.
it was awesome. Yeah. So my dad and Barry. Well, my dad's passed away now, but they
Uh-huh.
actually were in school together. They're very good friends. They were very good friends. Even when he came to
Wow.
perform in the UK, I remember one time. I think it was just after we came back from that trip to Jamaica, and Beres Hammond had come later on in that year, and he was performing, and we went to visit him in his hotel. We went to see him, and he gave us like free tickets for the show. Chatting to my dad, and yeah,
Wow.
they're just old school friends. I mean, they know each other from they were like 6 years old.
Wow.
Such
I
an
just,
awesome,
like, I was
yeah.
in New York,
Mm.
lived in New York, every concert, guys, trust me, we would be there, myself and another girlfriend. We were in the
At the front, yeah.
front. We're in the, we are at
Harry
the
Farman,
front. It's like, yeah,
he's a
Paris
living
Hamlet
legend.
was a living legend. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's like a Paris Hamilton. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah.
Barry Salmon, yeah, definitely. Yeah, he gave me a lot of knowledge and inspiration as well. Yeah, to
Yeah, his songs were really, really inspirations. His songs were really, if you really listen to
yeah,
when he's, you
definitely.
see that's a way that can help you grow a lot. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
love.
'Cause
Just,
I saw how he actually wrote a song. He wrote a song while we were there. He wrote a song and he went to the studio, recorded it. We seen the whole thing from
wow,
conception right through to the recording of the song.
that is
It
awesome.
was brilliant,
Yeah.
absolutely
Another
brilliant.
thing, I know I have to bring this up, right? Because
Yeah,
Shiloh is our boy, right?
yeah, of
And
course.
you met Shiloh.
Yeah,
Give us a little story about him and about his launching because he was on the
yes, of
show
course.
before.
Yeah.
So,
So
to my audience out there, I want to tell you. So Shiloh Malone is one good friend of mine, and I met Darren through Shiloh because Darren is his manager. But
mm,
Shiloh is going to launch, so now
yes.
um, we'll tell you a little bit about Shiloh and how you met, and what he's doing
Hmm.
now, and what you guys are doing now.
Okay.
Out.
So yeah, so I met Shiloh actually on Facebook.
What?
um, Yeah, Facebook we met. I was scrolling through and I seen a picture of him performing, and I messaged him, and then he messaged me back, and he said, "Oh, what do you do? Are you in music?" And I said, "Yeah, I manage artists." And he goes, "Oh, I'm looking for a manager. Are would you want to manage me?" And I thought, well, okay. Well, I said, let's have a talk. Let's meet, and we can have a talk. And if the vibes connect with each other, then yeah, maybe, yeah. So we arranged to meet. We went out for a drink, and we met, and we just hit it off straight away. Because Shiloh is like a very sort of spiritual, down to earth person, and
Yes,
I'm
he
the
is.
same. So we connected straight away, and so that was like about a year ago. And so in that year, because obviously Shiloh, he's been on our it's like a TV talent show called The X Factor.
X
Yeah.
Factor. Yeah.
So he was on there like about I think it was
That
like
is that's awesome. Like
2016,
this, he's
2016 or something like that. And
Shiloh is there. He's going places.
oh yeah.
He's going
So
places.
yeah, so in that year that we've been together, we've kind of started from scratch. So we've kind of rebranded him, given him a new logo. We've set up his new website. We've set up his all his social medias again. Um,
Right.
so now we're working on his album. We've recorded like 10 tracks for his album,
I
which
can't wait to
we are
hear.
in the process of mixing. Uh, Hopefully by September, October, we could have a release date for that. So what we're doing is we're gonna do like a album launch tour.
Mhm.
So we're working on that at the moment. He's got
Yeah.
about, sorry.
You coming to the US, right?
Of course, we're coming to the
Okay.
US. Yeah, definitely. That is definitely on the cards. And yeah, I mean, he's got 3 singles that he's coming out. He's going to bring out before the album launch. He's got one coming out on the 3rd, and he's got 2 other ones coming out which haven't got release dates yet. But he's gonna be very high profile between now and the
Yeah.
end of the year.
I
You
know.
know,
I'm so happy for my brother. I'm
yes,
so happy
he's
for
such an
him. I'm so
awesome
happy
guy,
for him.
awesome talent.
And
You know, yeah.
it
So we got
it's
big things planned, and it's
yeah.
about time because
Okay.
again, it is
That is
again, yeah, the internet's kind of. But I mean,
he's such an
even
awesome.
with China,
You
there's an element
know
of
what? I'm
mentoring as
happy.
well. Yeah, with Shiloh, there's also like
I'm
an
happy
element of
you.
mentoring as well, because he sort of
Yes. Yes.
because he had a break from the music for a while. He was a bit low and a bit needed bringing back up, you know. So I
Mhm.
kind of
Yeah.
mentored him and said, "Look, come on, you can do this, man. Let's get back out there. You've got an amazing voice. Let's do this. So you can't, God's given you a talent. You've got to use it." So we just decided
Yeah.
that we're going to rebrand. We're going to do everything from scratch, and he's in a really good place now. We did a
Yes.
video shoot on Thursday, and he's like, he's just a ball of energy, and he's just like bouncing all over the place. He's just really in a good place now. So we're really expecting a lot of big things for Shiloh, and with my management, Third Eye Management is the name of my company. So that's we're actually behind Shiloh on the management side of things. So yeah, we're looking. Yeah, Shiloh. He's going to be very high profile between now and the end of the ending of the year. His album is going to be awesome. When you hear some of those tracks, it's absolutely mind blowing. It's seriously, it's going to be something. So
Wow.
yeah, we're looking forward. We're looking forward to that. And plus, there's other artists that I'm trying to mentor and to bring to the
Bring up
fore as well. But Shiloh is
one.
the main sort of thing artist that I'm working with at the moment. Although I'm getting artists that come to me all the time and say, "Oh, Darren, can you work with me? Work with me?" But I'm thinking, I'm just concentrating on Shiloh for now because there's so much potential there and there's a lot of work to do. So I'm not
No,
trying to
that's
spread
what.
myself too thinly. Although
So
I don't want to burn myself out.
right, I understand that too because I know when Charlotte and I met, we met here in Georgia, and we
Yeah.
realized it's just like after we realized we are both Aquarius. Our
Oh
birthdays are
wow.
like
Yeah.
right, and so we remain friends. We're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Wow.
we think alike and everything is like that, and we just
Hmm.
lock and like. It's like his goal is like next time he comes back here, you can stay at my house. I don't mind giving up the room for you. That's
Okay.
the
Brilliant.
goal.
Yeah. But that
So
is the
that's
plan.
that's
We definitely want to get to Atlanta and do some performances there. Definitely.
right. And so now you can tell us a little bit about. I know you have all these different artists and projects you're doing, and how people could
Hmm.
find you, how people could, and now you continue mentoring. And I am so happy that you were able to come on, even though we had little hiccups, but I am so grateful for this. That, and I
Thank
and
you.
I
I'm
got to
grateful
explain.
for you as well.
and hear your story more, and that we can share it for others. And
Yeah, thank
others,
you.
especially young men out there who maybe
Hmm.
would see this video maybe a year from now or 2 years from now, or
Yeah,
or, or another, an adult who can see this and say, hey, who can I take from that growing up and bring them up? Or who can I
of course.
take from that growing up and mentor them? That seed, plant that seed to help that young, um, less fortunate or young, because then it will help us from having a lot of these kids going into drugs or going to
Mm.
alcohol or, doing something that they not unchanged.
Yeah,
So I am so happy that
definitely.
we're able to talk about this today,
Yeah,
right?
thank you for the platform. Yeah,
Yeah, and going out there because they see, and again, if I can, you can is where you
yeah.
came from to where you are today. You are top
Hmm.
producer, artist, manager. You are helping
Hmm.
out all artists all over because a seed was planted in your
Yes.
head from a child, from all these
Yeah.
men who were alive.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
this is so awesome. So I'm wishing, I'm praying, I'm looking out there, the young man or the moms who has kids, just get that
Yeah.
young man that who can nurture them and put them into their seats. And I would say, God is not, God always knows who to put in your path, but sometimes He put that
Definitely.
person to see it. So
Yeah.
hope that we get to see it and take it and run with it. Because we
Definitely.
don't, it's like us. For me, it took me years after to see, wow, I'm so blessed. But sometimes
Hmm.
you angry as kids. You were angry as
Yeah.
kids. It's like, why this one have this and I don't have this? But
Exactly.
now, as an adult, you realize, whoa, I was so much blessed that I had all these men in my life, or I had these
Yeah.
women in my life who were able to nurture me to who I am today. And the
Hmm.
same to me. So similar. Our story became similar, especially living in the islands. It's like it comes like a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it comes like that village to raise a child.
Mm.
So
Yeah. Definitely.
so you can leave. We're gonna leave, and we're about to the end,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Because I got to shoot off. Yeah.
leave, leave something out for the audience and just tell them how they can reach you, about your projects you're working on, how they can find where your projects is or something. I know if you have
Okay.
a
Yeah.
website, tell them about that.
Yeah. The website is under construction at the moment, but I can, as soon as that's up and running, I can sort of send you information on that. The main two social medias that I'm on are Facebook and Instagram. My Instagram name is the dot general dot d. That's on Instagram, and on Facebook, it's again the general D, and that's on Facebook. So that's the main two ways that I've got a Twitter account, but I don't really use Twitter that much. But it's mostly I would say Instagram or Facebook. You can contact me on.
Okay,
But
thank
thanks
you.
for having me. It's been great talking to
A
you.
word for the audience, your audience out there, especially these young people out there, young. What a motivation! Something you could motivate them. I was like leaving something to them, leaving
Uh,
your last words with
yeah,
them.
I would just say we've all got a given talent, or I would just say if you've got a talent, you should just go for it. You should not sit on your talent. You should try and motivate yourself to reach higher heights. you know um if you've got any issues, try and reach out to people. Don't be frightened to ask for help. You'd be surprised who would be there to help. I mean, the people that I've helped, it's not all the time that I've known that they needed help. They actually came to me. So, and I actually like the fact that they came to me. Some people might think, oh, I don't want to approach that person, but you know, ask for help. People around with loads of knowledge and experience. So try and use the people that are around you, to further yourself. Don't ever give up on your hopes and your dreams. That's all I would say. Keep that focus. To the younger people, sometimes all that glitters is not gold,
Oh,
because Yeah, I mean, I know that from growing up. I mean, I was surrounded by a lot of, you know, maybe drug dealers and maybe pimps that had loads of like cars and clothes and stuff like that. And I used to think, wow, I want to have that when I grow up. But when you grow up and you think, these guys, you know, the thing is, these guys that were had all these things when I was younger, where are they now? They're working 9 to 5 jobs. They're not. They haven't got anything. You know, so all that, you know, it's not all about the fast money. It's about working towards a a a a, a a goal. You know, so yeah, I think just, you know, just persevere in what you're doing and stick on the right road, and you'll get there. And you know, thanks for the platform, and thanks for having me on your show. It's been great.